probably help if I turned my mic on. Good evening. I am Max Porter, and tonight I am going to show some advanced lighting techniques in Roll20 as I set up the sandy dungeon wherein my heroes, my adventurers in my Wildlands campaign are currently adventuring. I'm going to roll right into this. Now, the first thing to do is consider, as I've already got quite a bit of this dungeon going with the classic reveal areas technique. But I think if I can pull it off using advanced lighting, I'm going to try and get something extra special going to increase the drama when the players once more venture into the sandy dungeon below Rubble Point in the Wildlands campaign. So, first of all, I'm going to turn on Advanced Fog of War. Do I want to show the grid? By default, the Advanced Fog of War hides the map grid anywhere revealed, but the player can no longer see because of dynamic lighting. That's nice. I think I like that. Dim light reveals. By default, the Advanced Fog of War will not be permanently revealed by dynamic lighting that is not bright. This option allows dim lighting to also reveal the fog, because we're going to have dim lighting option as a thing when the players, when we have Advanced Fog of War turned on. I guess I need to enable dynamic lighting as well. So, by default, the Advanced Fog of War will not be permanently revealed by dynamic lighting that is not bright. This option allows dim lighting to also reveal the fog. I'll think about that. I kind of like that doesn't work, though. That's kind of interesting. Creates a varying level of knowledge within the party, which can lead to interesting things. All tokens revealed by GM. By default, Advanced Fog of War is only revealed by tokens with sight that are controlled by at least one player. This option allows tokens with sight which are not controlled by anyone. It's tokens with sight which are not controlled by anyone to reveal Advanced Fog of War for the GM only. I'm not sure that's necessary. So my plan here is to use the Advanced Fog of War, but kind of not necessarily let the players realize that anything's different when they log in, or that things are only slightly different, and then they can enjoy the dynamic lighting reveal. I'm going to turn on only update on drop. That'll make it a little bit easier to load the page. Restrict movement, always very important. Otherwise, people end up moving themselves through walls without realizing it. And then the effect is spoiled. Enforce line of sight. Oh, that means they won't be able to see one another's line of sight. I don't think I'm going to turn that on. It's a little extreme, that's all. Alright. Whoa. With GM opacity turned way up, that is extremely dark. I like it, but I'm going to have to lower it for now. Because I need to set this up. I'll turn it back on when things are for the stream next on the weekend. Alrighty. So, the first thing to do is set up the sight options on all of these characters. It's a little tedious, but that's what's going to allow them to see. I already has sight. Alright, that's good. Emits light. Bella has dark vision. So I'm not going to click all players see light, but I will give Bella, I think it's 60 foot is the standard. 60 foot dark vision, and just to kind of make it a nice effect, even though it's not technically how dark vision works, I'll have it start dim after 30 feet. In this cramped of a dungeon, it's highly likely that Bella won't really see too much of the dim from the dark vision. Okay. That's looking good. View distance. I don't think I'm going to need that. Oh, unless I turn off dynamic lighting. No, let's keep it. Okay, so Bella can now see. And if we do, I think it's Shift L? No, Control L? Yes. So that's Bella's view. Now. Yes, that is going to mess up the advanced fog of war. Because she is seeing past all these walls now. Including the one that was most especially hidden, through which that door that made the players so scared last game. That was an interesting thing. So I'm going to turn off Advanced Fog of War for the moment. Okay. That's fine. Alright. Now, before I start giving people lights, it seems I need to go ahead and start my super secret special setup. So to do that, I'm going to need to put in these walls. Now I'm going to cover over the map and the dynamic lighting layer. I'm going to, I guess I'll use the polygon line. Now I'm going to make this a bright color, because only I'm going to see it, and it's going to tell me what the players can see. So I'm now making these lines, starting with that. They're not going to be totally straight. One way I could make them really straight is if I made boxes. But then I would end up with a whole lot of extra unnecessary lines on the map. And that's not going to be very good for several things, including streaming. Alright, so there's one line. So I don't get lost, I'm just going to right-click on the map, and that will set it. It's a regular thickness. Alright, that's fine. So that will set it. That ends the line, so now I can start a new polygon. And you've always got to be careful whenever you're starting a new line to kind of cross over an old line a bit. Because if you're not careful, you get a tiny crack, even a pixel wide, which will allow the light and sight of the players to shine through and kind of look ugly, but also break verisimilitude because they'll be able to see through locations and then messes everything up. So be careful about that. Got to be very careful. I'm going to stop that line there for that very similar reason, because I'd have to go back down. So I'm just going to right-click that. And already I can see the light being cut off from Bella. A light which only she'll see, so it's not going to mess it up for anybody else. Let's check on how she's doing. There we go. Nice. So she's seeing this as dim because I haven't put any walls on the dynamic lighting layer. I haven't told the system yet that you can't see through there. So let's keep going. One thing I love about Saving Thrower on DeviantArt, I love your map's saving thrower. And one reason is there's lots of nice, clean, thick lines in the walls of the dungeons that are really simple, easy, intuitive. They don't cause a lot of questions from the players, and that is a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and just on that line. I'm going to go over it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I made another line down there. That should... I could make that line thinner, but then it'll make that wall look thinner, and it'll look a little strange, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and make this little thing here. Oh, I can see the light adjusting. See, it slips through the tiniest cracks. Even that, at that angle, it's slipping through. I have been covered up a little bit. Got to be careful. Remember that my camera is on the other side. You know what? I'll go ahead and move my camera back over this way. So we're not rolling dice tonight. Not yet, anyway. Okay. So, what is next? I think I'm just going to keep going along this line here, this wall here. That's a little sketchy. The light might slip through there. Hope I haven't messed that up. But I have a secret door here that I marked for myself on the GM only sees layer earlier. So there's a secret door there. So I'm going to have to prepare the dynamic lighting. That's another great thing about Saving Throwers maps. There's these extra rooms that aren't attached to anything where you can... They could be on a different floor. They could be through a secret door. I wish I hadn't made this line right on that. I'm going to go ahead and move that line. Grimslag. Max is a wizard. He just teleported. Good evening, Grimslag. Can you hear me okay? I haven't been listening to myself. Maybe I should. Grimslag. Max is a wizard. He just teleported. Yep. Hearing your own voice is always a little bit strange. Alright. Grimslag, do you create your own maps, or do you use pre-generated that meet your requirements and alter them? So, I am not a fantastic artist, so I grab them from when I play online. When I play online, I grab my maps from wherever I can find them. And hey, it's just my game. You know, I'm not bothering anybody, so I'm just going to, recycle, reuse, and find whatever I can that'll make it work. This is from Saving Thrower. So there's the. Hopefully, you can see the link up at the top there. But thank you, Saving Thrower at DeviantArt. You've made some beautiful maps, and I love them. Now I'm making the top line here. Now, of course, these lines, I'm just repeating myself real quick. These lines are going to tell the system where the light is blocked and where the vision of the players is blocked. So I'm right-clicking to set that. And I've let this little gap here for my secret door. Recycle is a kind word for borrowing for free. Well, Saving Thrower put it up there. I'm going to go ahead and just use it. I love it. Of course, I'll give them credit. All right. Now I'm changed colors, and I am... Ooh, I hope that's wide enough. I am making another line here, and I'm making it... maybe I should make a... Oh, that's probably fine. So this is a different color because I'm going to want to be able to grab it during the game. So going to my select tool, going to the dynamic lighting layer, and I'll click and grab and drag away the red line when they open this secret door. And I can put it back, and hopefully that'll work. To test this, and as I mentioned, you gotta not leave any tiny little gaps. So now I'm going to grab an eyeball. What do we... Oh, not the journal. Let's see. Grab an eye. What do we have here? Well, cagey evil eye. That seems fine. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to make this give off some light. Oh, I put it on the lighting layer instead of the token layer. That's why it's not working. All right, this is our new light tester. I'm going to make that emit some light. The players will never see this, so doesn't matter. Alright, so I can see that that's working. I have it set to only update on drop. Otherwise, you'd see it dynamically moving as I moved the token. So it looks like that doorway is working. Oh, it saved my revealed areas. Interesting. I wonder if that works on the advanced fog of war. So I'm moving this around, and nothing's shining through there. So that seems like it's working. Good. All right, we'll keep that around just in case we need it. Go back to the dynamic lighting layer. So it looks like this secret door is all set up there. The players won't be able to see this S. It'll just look like I guess a gap to them. I should probably have a a door of some kind there. So that visually Oof, this is a lot of stuff that I don't want. Visually, the players will be able to find the secret door later. Once they have discovered it. That's probably fine. Actually, it looks a little weird. That'll work. So I'm going to make that a drawing. Oh, I put it on the dynamic lighting layer. Got to move that over to the token layer. so that the players will be able to see it. And did I say it was a drawing? I think I did. Yes, is drawing. Okay, great. So now I can edit it. Let's bring it into the light a little bit. All right. Excellent. I think that'll work just fine. Swazi. Hi there. And thanks for saying I'm badass, Scarasthina. So this little hidden secret door is going to be right behind that wall there, ready to pop out when the players succeed on a perception or more likely investigation roll. Let's see. Alright, so now that that's set up, I'm going to go back to the dynamic lighting layer, and I have all these lines, these green and red lines. The red is the one I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to plan to move any green lines, and keep drawing this shape. Now this is a nice simple square, this room, so I'm going to skip the polygon line nonsense and just draw a shape. Oh, it's red. Fine. Actually, can I still change the... Nah. Well, whatever. That looks pretty good. I cut off a little bit of the walls, I think, but that should be fine. Awesome. Grimslag, do you manually set the needed perception roll, or is it set depending on the quality of the door and the level of the dungeon? Actually, Grimslag, what goes through my mind, I mean, is set depending on the quality of the door and the level of the dungeon in a sense. What goes through my mind when I am creating the DCs, or setting the DC for something, the difficulty class, is the number that the players need to roll, for those of you who don't know what difficulty class means. What goes through my mind is actually, very quickly, why is this dungeon here? Who built it? And how important is the thing that it's hiding? Because I figure, if you're going to do something fancy with your architecture, as everyone knows, the fanciest architecture is just chock full of secret doors. I figure you're going to only go to that much trouble and expense if it's really, really worth it, and if you have the resources. So, I'm going to continue drawing these lines as I talk. So, you know, very quickly that's what goes through my head. And simply from playing a lot, or knowing that there are 20 numbers on a D20, and you know, the general bonuses that the party has, I know how hard is hard. So I don't usually set a DC lower than 10 unless unless it's something that I'm not really expecting the players to need to roll anyway. So 10 is generally the lowest DC. Sometimes there's a lower DC, like, you know, if there's like if it's really important to know that the players fail to climb this very easy to climb knotted rope. But something like a secret door, I mean, if a secret door is a DC lower than 10, it's pretty crap. That's pretty, what you might as well not, it's not really a secret, it's like behind something. So I'd start at, very quick, and this all happens in an instant in my mind. It's just, all right, this dungeon has been built by the empire that came before the Veye Empire. Now, the players, amazingly, have not really done any knowledge checks on that empire, nor have they discovered its name yet. Amazing. So they don't know that it is called the Empire of Ebb. And I kind of want it to have a really creepy, somewhat Sumerian vibe. Because I figure nothing says old like Sumerian. That light is coming through there. Is it actually being stopped by this line? Not really sure. Now, I'm a little worried that however I draw this line, it's going to let a tiny crack through, so I'm just concentrating on this for a moment. There we go. I think making that little corner will probably make it work. That's probably fine. Okay, so that's set. Some players might have tried, says Karasthina. Some players might be sensitive about their history bonuses. Yes, well. Grimslag, at an 8, the secret door actually has secret door written on it. Yeah, that might actually even be lower than 8. I guess at like DC 5 or below, it has like bright red glowing, arrow pointing toward it, and secret door written in painted on it and stuff. Okay, but so all of this is running through my head really quick. So I'm trying to fully answer your question, Grimslag. All of that is running through my head in an instant. Certainly at this level, like 15 is fairly challenging. 12 is like, you have to work to do it, but it's not hard. This construction has been down here a long time. There has been time for stuff to happen to this secret door. So, and the Empire of, on the other hand, the Empire of Ebb were fantastic builders. Their constructions were infused with magic, and they are, after all, the progenitors, the creators of a lot of the stranger magic items and more powerful artifacts that the players might be able to find in this world. So, I don't think that the special architectural features might have degraded all that much, even over the centuries. So where I'd probably land, and again, this is all happening in seconds, where I'd probably land is right around 15 for this door. Now I might adjust that a little bit, because I might have certain needs, either story needs or just functional, like keep the game running needs. So I might adjust that lower or up for those reasons. But one thing I would so what I consider really is the nature of the dungeon. Can I not adjust this? The color of this thing? It's bothering me. There we go. Alright. Yeah, that should... No, but now there's a problem, because when I move this secret door, that's going to reveal this black in-between space. And it won't go through. Ugh. So I either leave it like it is and pull the door out into the player's visibility so that they know where the secret door is, and when they want to go through, I just drag them. But we might as well make it nice. So we'll do it the nicer way. That means I have to get rid of this very convenient box and do this imprecise way. Alright, so my secret door... So I'm making a little passage here. Karaslina, that sounds like classic goblinoid secret door architecture. Are you talking about the flashing arrows and stuff? Yeah. I guess you might say that. I did have a campaign, of course, where... probably more than one campaign, actually. Where I had a goblin sneak or thief that would stealth around and actually say, sneak, 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 as he went. Alright, so I'm right-clicking to set that. I think that'll work. Let's double-check. That's not what I want to do. There we go. So if I move this over here, creates light in that room, and through here. Looks about right. It's not shining through there too much. A bit of strange shadow on the top edge, but I think that's probably fine. Yeah. Oh yeah, it shines through there a little bit from this side. That's probably fine. Alright, great. So we've got all this set up. This whole corner of the dungeon nicely set up. I love the dynamic lighting on Roll20. I just wish that there was something that could do like half lighting, so I could give things like shadows and make them feel more three-dimensional. I feel like that would be fantastic. If anyone from Roll20 is listening, that would be fantastic for like terrain pieces. To be able to give like a bit of a dim light shadow on... I'm going to go ahead and make that line bigger than I need to prevent some light kind of shining through the tiny crack there. Swazi, can you zoom out so we can see the whole dungeon? Sure. So slightly highlighted are the parts that I have revealed to the players. Actually, there might be a way... I wonder if I... So I've done this whole side with dynamic lighting now. Those are all the green and a little bit of red line. I'm going to do the rest of it. And this map was created by Saving Thrower on DeviantArt. Absolutely gorgeous. I make my own maps when I play in person. But when I play online, I feel like it really, really is wonderful to use things that people have thrown up on their various pages. Did you get a good look at it, Swazi? Thanks for joining me. Looks super cool. Thank you. Excellent. Now I'm drawing everything in green. That's going to confuse me later. I wish I hadn't made all my GM notes. This is on the GM layer. The players can't see this stuff. So, looks super cool, pretty big. Must take a few sessions to get through there. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can see. You can probably see if you look really closely on the stream, but they've explored a good chunk. The parts that are slightly more well lit, what I've revealed to the players. They started here. They came down these tower stairs. You can go back and watch the video. I'm going to upload it to my YouTube SuperCommoner on YouTube channel soon, but it's still on Twitch for now. And I'm going to you can go back and watch where the players came down these stairs from the tower above and explored all this area. You know, I have to say, one of the players did a lot of things with this pool, mysterious pool of water, except actually try to drink it, which was disappointing. Or, like, completely immerse in it, which would have also been interesting. I'm trying to get my players... I'm a little worried that they're going to get too scared, because there's been a lot of cursed stuff. Or stuff, if not a total curse, like, definitely of questionable intent. So I'm a little worried they're going to start, like, not caring about magic items or be too afraid to interact with potentially dangerous magical terrain features. So I'm going to try to alleviate that a little bit. Swazi, yeah, I remember them being in the hallway with the snake-looking things when I joined. Yeah, there were snakes there. This being a dungeon under the desert, I've got a bit of a theme going. This is getting to be a very big line. But I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to cut that off. That was the entrance. That was actually the expected entrance. These stairs right here. So things played out a little differently than I expected. The players wanted to, following kind of the most charismatic warlock of the group, Equitus, they went down the stairs, the alternate entrance to the dungeon. So they went, instead of coming down these stairs, which is what I intended would be the wrong word, because, of course, I feel like you should try to limit the things you intend as a GM, so that you're not too inflexible when the players inevitably do something unexpected. That's the point of the game, is for them to be unexpected. But it wasn't my intent that they went down this way. That was just what I expected. Swazi, like that helmet they seem pretty scared of. Yeah. Well, I mean, they were scared of it, but, you know, Equitus put it on, and nothing too terrible happened. It just affected his emotions a little bit. Actually, here's a little inside information. I had originally intended for that helm to apply a terrible curse. But as the session wore on, it became clear that the players were kind of running scared of the items, and it was getting a little bit silly, considering the number of items they had picked up. So, I chose to alleviate it a little bit. Grimslag. Let them find a scroll with D6+2 single-use abilities to analyze magic item, which would reveal a curse. Let them find a scroll with D6+2 single-use abilities to analyze magic item, which would reveal a curse. Oh! Oh, that's a good idea, Grimslag. So I actually have a place for that in this dungeon. Look over here. Let's go to tokens. It's a little bit dim because I'm working with the lighting right now. But if you zoom in, they're going to find this strange figure asleep upon the floor. And over to one side, a table with a tableau of many scrolls and writing implements. It's going to be strange. It's going to be mysterious. It's going to be a little bit eerie. This is where the map that our brave barbarian, Bref, found and inadvertently cursed a town using. That map came from here. So I am going to have this. One of the things that map did was it drained his health. So I wanted to have something that would let him undo that if he were clever enough. But your suggestion is a very good one, Grimslag. Let them have some identifying stuff. Well, actually... I'm going to make a note on that, Grimslag, because one of the things that has been pretty awesome about this campaign so far is that the players have been experimenting with their magic items. They've been experimenting with their magic items. Despite there being all of the curses and problems and dangerous effects, they've been experimenting with their magic items. And I think that's partially because nobody in the party has the ability. Out of 7 people, nobody took Identify. Identify isn't as important or as useful of a spell in 5th edition, but I'm a little worried that if they have too much power to identify stuff... Now I'm making a note to myself on the GM layer, but I'm going to use a different color so that I don't confuse myself later. Oh, that's dark. Oh, okay. Identify. Hopefully you can see that. But I think your suggestion is a great one, because giving them a scroll with limited uses would at least let them quickly identify some of the items that I want them to be able to. And maybe be a little less scared of them. But it'll be limited. This gem is supposed to be big, but I feel like that's too big. Let's make it a little smaller. Ah! And I made it bigger. I thought I said it was a drawing. Oh, I unchecked it. Rah. Silly me. Okay. But I think a limited scroll will be a great way for them to kind of deal with some of this stuff, even at this level. I did consider having them level, but I kind of like sticking to the going back to town in order to level up thing. I kind of love the idea of that being part of the reward. And I think that it'll prevent a certain amount of murder hoboism. Oh, that's purple. Murder hoboism being the kind of game or player or character who where they are just going around killing stuff, taking their treasure, never really doing anything else. There's nothing wrong with playing that way, but I find it gets tiresome. And I find myself very quickly hankering for a good story. And I think that there's a real danger of murder hoboism happening in... Oh, that closed itself off because I completed the box. There's a real danger of murder hoboism in a hex crawler game, because it is all about exploring and going around to different places of the map and doing all that stuff, getting treasure, etc. Still making these lines, nice straight lines on this map, ruined by my wibbly wobbly hand. But it'll look good. I'm not going to put that line in there just yet. It's going to end up being quite a thick wall. But I'll just do that. That way there's no chance of any... that would be quite a tiny intersection there where I could easily have a teeny tiny little crack where some light could shine through. So I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen. By crossing the T there. Alright, gotta be careful on that corner. I feel a little worried that I'm not doing a good job here, but that's probably fine. So part of the way I've designed this dungeon, which I was reminded of when Swazi asked me to zoom out to look at it, is I always feel strongly that in all dungeons, there's a serious... You need to have a reason for the players to sneeze. That sneeze didn't quite come out. Okay. You always need to have a reason for the players to explore the whole thing. Otherwise, you've ended up designing a dungeon. And dungeons are different, I think, from a lot of things in the game. Like a random encounter, of which I've been using a lot, or a outdoors, or what have you. This isn't really a problem. But when you're designing a dungeon, or any kind of entirely unified thing, you might end up doing a ton of work that the players never see or experience. And to a certain degree, you just have to be fine with that as a GM. Because that's just how things work sometimes. But shouldn't we try to limit it as much as possible? So one of the ways I do that is by giving the players a reason to explore the whole thing. And I think that that also makes the players feel more satisfied when they like they really completed something and didn't just like quit the dungeon halfway through because they had something else seemed more interesting. So the way that I'm doing that in this particular dungeon, which I'm realizing now I don't really have a name for. It's just called Sand Dungeon on my map organizer. Is by kind of making a dungeon-wide puzzle. It's a very simple puzzle. It's not the kind of puzzle that's going to really be difficult to solve. But it is at least something that they will have to visit almost every corner of the dungeon to solve. That's a good question, Gribslag, and I'll get to that in a minute. Actually, I'll get to it now. Gribslag, if your group missed an area on a map, can you save those sections and transfer them to another campaign map for later use? Generally, I don't do that. And the reason, I guess the only way I would is if it was something that was critically important to the story. And the reason I don't is somewhat personal. The reason I don't, for me, is simply that it wouldn't fit. The way I design a lot of these dungeons, I think we're going to make a dynamic lighting line across here too. This is kind of like a wall that blocks line of sight, a pillar, a load-bearing wall. So, the way this dungeon is it's very specific unto itself. It just, none of these things would really make any sense. Am I in the right place? None of these things would make any sense in another dungeon that I can think of. I guess if I had a really clever, like, an idea I was in love with, like, oh man, this fountain, does something really cool, and I'm gonna use that again later, and there's no chance the players are going... That's the key thing as well, is if there's any chance at all that the players are going back to that dungeon, and then that room that I was excited about, it's either going to be repeated or it's going to be missing. I should have put a door there. This is a very obvious door location. Oh well. Maybe there's a door there now. Maybe the players will go, why is there a door here now? Although most likely, they wouldn't even notice. Swazi, when are these guys going to play again? So this group plays on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, or, pretty close to that, I will be running them through this dungeon. I have my other group, the Blades in the Dark group. I did upload that video to YouTube, and you should go watch it. Because it was, it was kind of a quiet session, actually. Might not have been the most exciting one, but non-D&D. It's a Blades in the Dark, which is a RPG about thieves. That game would play on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So right now I've got games on both Saturday and Sunday nights. And I'm trying to stream every night this week. Grimslag, 2 main routes to the objective. Both routes have a number of trigger-related objects on the way. You could lift one whole route and drop it in another dungeon if they don't take it. Well, sure, Grimslag, but then why is it there in the first place? I mean, I guess if the dungeon demands it. Time management. I'm not throwing anything away. Well, that's good. You should never throw anything away if you're excited about it. I never throw anything away either. When it comes to GMing stuff. Or writing. I save all my old scraps. And bits of writing. I think I found a poem. A terrible poem that I wrote the other day when I was... I think I wrote it when I was 14. Ah, yes. We need a secret door here. We have an S. But no secret door. That S is... I am going to not see that later. Alright, so to make our secret door, we're going to change colors so that we can find and grab and move it easily later. And we are going to put up a little secret door right there. I'm making a little corner on it as well. Alright. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier. I'm going to grab this door, this kind of stone looking door. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put it over here behind the dynamic lighting wall. So that secret door will be marked by something. When players come through here. The size of that S is really bothering me. I need to fix that. Let's delete that. And I'll change the color this time. And S. Perfect. So that's on the GM only there, so only I will see that. Swazi, wish I could access my old cube stuff. Yeah, talking about the Camelot Unchained building environment. I feel ya. I built some old stuff there too. Of course, here, now this secret door, I feel very strongly that I wanted the players to find. So but more than that, I felt that it had been previously found by some adventurers who came through here and didn't clear out the dungeon, didn't solve the puzzles, but did leave some graffiti behind to point the way. None of the players noticed this, by the way. I have this egg here. It's a basilisk egg. None of them noticed it, and none of them went this way. They didn't go check it out. That's going to be... I don't know if they're even going to ever explore the whole dungeon, but if they do, there's a whole nest there. Ha! Grimslag. Is that S a string of mushroom beads? Yes, indeed. All right. And there we have it. I think I'm going to do one more thing. So one thing I was trying to decide on is whether to put doors between all the rooms in this long series of small chambers here. I thought it would be interesting if there was a guardian of some kind. Not necessarily a full-on encounter, but something in each of these rooms for the players to find and keep them going. And if I was going to make those into separate encounters, I might copy that door and paste it in each of these little openings. I'm not sure if that would be more or less fun, though. It might make the... I'd have to change the encounters a bit, because one of the things that could happen is that enemies could peek around these corners. And I guess they could use the doors as well, if I did put some in. I'm going to have to think about that some more. I'm not sure if I wanted doors there or not. It might be interesting. There's no rogue in this party. Another unusual thing about the party. So they're not super amazing at searching for stuff. And I think Bella has the highest intelligence. So she's actually the best investigator. Getting a bit dry. Ah, that's better. Alright, well, I'm going to keep this tonight's stream a little bit short. Not go for an hour and a half or 2 hours, like I sometimes do. Oh boy, 2 questions, right as I said that. Grimslag, if the party doesn't have one of its avatars, no rogue, with a particular basic special ability, and that loss will certainly hurt them throughout your scenario, just let them suffer so they learn or help them out. And Swazi asks, are the players in this game pretty experienced? I'm going to answer Swazi's question first. No. Other than Bella, other than Bella's player, played by my lovely wife, they are fairly inexperienced crew. Also, Bref, played by Jeremy, is quite experienced as a player. The rest of them range from 0 experience to I played one time to, I'm currently in my other campaign, which was my first campaign. So, that's Alexis. So, varying levels of experience. The only real thing I do differently is I just make sure to introduce a lot of the concepts of the game to them in a particular way. I want them to start off not necessarily playing my way, but playing well, being good players. Now let me check Bella's view. Okay. Now what happens if I move Bella? Okay. Oh, I forgot to block that door off. This is a good test. That's important. Now to answer Grimslag's question. If they don't have a particular character. See, I think that that's fine. Even for inexperienced players. One of your jobs as a dungeon master is to have both kinds of encounters. The tailored encounter, where there are challenges for every player. and it's, specifically designed with the party in mind. And also to have as-is encounters. I forget what the natural state encounters. I forget what the official word for that is. Where the players... Is that going to leak? Hopefully not. Where there's like, that dragon over there. Where, the players know that there's something out there, but it just is what it is. The hardest boss in the game or whatever is just out there. You know where it is. You can avoid it, but if you go there, the encounter is just the way that it is. It's not tailored. Naturalistic, perhaps. Alright, so we have that door done. I always forget something. Oh, I should make something for these little pillars over here. So it's important to have a mix. Now, in a tailored encounter, or a story point, if you are making something that is tailored, if I were to make something that was tailored to a rogue, or some other kind of character who's not in the party, well then what am I doing? How incredibly foolish am I? To have tailored it to something that they don't have. What was the point? Nobody's going to feel good. The only possible outcome is that everybody feels bad. The players would feel bad because they're like, well, we don't have a rogue, so we're screwed. We messed up. And I would feel bad because whatever story point or adventure note or what have you that's hidden behind that that little, whatever it is, that rogue-only thing, doesn't happen, doesn't get used, doesn't get played, doesn't get experienced, which is really the only reason I'm doing this. So there's no reason to tailor an encounter or tailor anything in the game that is tailored to a party member that's not there, that doesn't exist. Now, for the other kind of encounter, well, yeah, absolutely. If the party were to raid a thieves' guild, a thieves' hideout, and I thought it would be appropriate for these thieves to have all manner of traps and secret doors and trickery that only a rogue, a thief, a proper knave of the night could deal with, and the party goes there, and then they can't deal with that stuff. Well, yeah, that's the intent. Then the party doesn't feel bad because they chose to do that. It's not like they entered into an encounter and were just blindsided by, like, well, why don't you have a rogue in the party? They know, in that scenario, they went into that encounter. That's a naturalistic, an as-is encounter. I wish I could remember the term. It's like from the 3.0 Dungeon Master's Guide, I swear. Then they don't feel bad. They just look, I put my S in the wrong place. Then they don't feel bad. They just are like, oh yes, this makes sense, and it actually adds their frustration, if there is any, in that particular case would only add to the richness of the encounter, because it should be frustrating in that case. Feeling frustrated would feel right. If you go into a scenario where a specialized skill that you knew would be tested is being tested, not only do you just have yourself to blame, because of course you do, but also it would feel correct. It would feel like this is exactly what should be happening. This feels true. And that's really all we're looking for in any game. Grimslag, insightful answer, Max. Thanks. You put a great deal of soul into your GMing. I do. Soul is the right word. Thank you. That is a really kind thing to say. All right, let's... he has sight. I've already set this up properly. So wait a minute. If I control L on him, it's dark because there's no... The light that Bella's emitting is dark vision, so it's visible only to her. Now, if I make Akiri, who is currently carrying the light stone, has sight, all players see light, and that's supposed to be 40 feet of light, and dim starts after 20 feet. Bam. All right. So now, what happens if we look at the blue? Oh, I did give him sight, did I? Of course somebody doesn't. Wait, has sight? Did I forget to check all players see light? What? Why isn't it working? Huh. Has sight. All players see light. Standby. Okay, so Akiri can see. And she only sees her own light, so that's correct. Ooh, that's a nice effect. Look at that. That's a really pretty shot. This is what it will look like from the player of Akiri's perspective. Now I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, wait a minute. He has dark vision too, anyway. Wait a minute. Why would he see only darkness? That makes no sense. Oh, wait. Is it because he's standing on this? That doesn't make... Yes. I'm probably selecting the wrong thing. Well, no. That can't be right. Sorry, something odd is happening. I move him there. If I make this a drawing, and I move him back. Why does he see darkness? What have I got the wrong settings here? Huh. Is that true of everybody? Okay, I have some wrong settings set here. Is it something to do with the advanced fog of war? Of fog of war enabled, advanced fog of war not currently enabled. I haven't got that checked. And if I turn that on... Oh, excellent. So now she's seeing... So I'm looking at Bella's view. So now she is seeing, grayed out, the locations that other people have seen. That is pretty perfect. I don't want it to make it so only she can see what she sees. So she's working properly. Why is she not working? What have I done? That's very strange. What is happening here? Huh. So Bella's set up correctly. Everyone else has something funky going on. Well, I'm going to have to go figure that out later, possibly. Is it because of this? No. That's blank for her too. Emits light. All players see light. Player permissions. That looks all the same. I guess I haven't turned on her name. What on earth? So, right now, only the people who are emitting light can see? I'm gonna have to go off and think about why that's happening. Right now, I'm not sure. Huh. But if I say Mavra emits light... What if I said that? Nope, that didn't really make a difference. I thought I knew what I was doing, but Advanced Fog of War is a little bit new to me, as opposed to the dynamic lighting. Well, no matter. I'll have to figure that out later. I think I know why it's happening. Strange. Alright, well, I'm going to turn off the stream now. Thank you very, very much for joining me. I hope you learned a few new things about the dynamic lighting system, even if, on Roll20, even if I seem to be puzzled by this last thing. I'll figure it out soon enough. Grim's like, this part of GMing, working with the module creation AI, that doesn't seem very intuitive, would frustrate me greatly. Well, when it works beautifully. I'm just having a little trouble with it at the moment, but I'll figure it out. Alright. Good night, folks. Turning off the stream. Have a good one. I'll be back on tomorrow night and every night this week. Bye-bye.